After I learned the kanji and graduated and took Japanese 101, knowing all those kanji was a bit overkill. So I learned over 2,200 kanji while I was in high school in about 18 months. So I wanted to learn Japanese, but there weren't any Japanese people around me and there weren't any Japanese classes available at my high school. So I just studied katakana by myself first, and then I learned hiragana by myself, and then afterwards I went in naive. I thought there were only about 100 or 200 or maybe 300 kanji at most, and I just dove into it. My goal was actually to learn all the kanji before graduating, and I had about 18 months before graduation. And I found this site called kanji.kohi.com. You learn kanji through mnemonics, which are basically just memory devices. With the website, you learn the most basic looking kanji first. For example, you would learn a kanji like mouth, which just looks like a square, and then day, which is a square with a line in it. And progressively the kanji get more and more difficult. But what you do is you give each of the kanji or their radicals, their parts, a name, and you incorporate that in the story. For example, here we have this kanji. It's made up of woman and child, and the meaning is like. So women tend to like their children. As long as you can remember the story, you remember the meaning. And on this particular site, you can use other people's stories and you don't have to make up one for yourself. The site, it uses flashcards, and the site uses spaced repetition. After you learn a kanji and you add it to your deck, it will come up for a review. And if you remember the meaning, you can say how difficult it was. It's very easy, it was okay, it was very difficult, and it will come back later based on your answer. So if it was very easy, it won't come back for about another week. But if it was very hard, maybe it'll come back the next day. And so you're constantly reviewing them. And so I remembered the kanji's meanings in English. I didn't focus so much on writing or learning how to read them. That came afterwards. Remembering the kanji site is free, so anyone can use it. And you can even use it on your phone. If you want to stay motivated, what I did was, I made the site my homepage. So whenever I turned on the computer and opened a web browser, kanji.kohi.com would pop up, and I would just knock that out right away and then go do whatever I'm doing next. Also, in front of my computer, I would leave a notebook open with a pencil on it. That way, if I wanted to make any notes, I could do it immediately. Make it really, really easy to do. If you make the site really hard to get to, you might not use it every day. But if the first thing that happens when you turn on your computer is that website pops up, you're more likely to use it. Just stay logged in. Remember, just even one a day, you're going to make more and more and more progress. And maybe you'll start by learning one a day, and then you'll get really, really motivated, and it'll start becoming fun, and then you'll start learning 2 a day, and then maybe 3 a day, and then maybe 4 a day, and it'll just go by more and more quickly. And maybe you don't live in Japan, but if you start to read something like a website that's written in Japanese, and you're able to start reading some of what's written, that's super motivating. After I learned the kanji and graduated and took Japanese 101, it was funny knowing the kanji in Japanese 101 because we would have these vocab tests where there would be an English word and we had to write the Japanese word below it in hiragana. And sometimes I would forget how it's spelled. For example, with isho, I wouldn't remember if it's elongated or not. Isho or ishou. And so in that case, instead of writing in hiragana, I would just write it in kanji and I would get full credit for it. So that was really useful and actually pretty funny. Because if you don't know what a kanji means, it's just a gap in the writing. It's just a kanji. It's like a blur, like a mosaic. You don't know what's written. But if you learn the kanji and you just know the meaning, you don't even know how to pronounce it, you know the meaning of what's being said. So I came here and even though I couldn't pronounce all the kanji, I knew what it meant. So I could see something, I could look at the menu and go, oh, I know what this means. Or I could go to the train station and know, oh, this is going to this station. Also with like instructions. Maybe I ordered something on Amazon and it came in and it had very, very simple instructions. And because it's written using kanji, I could understand. Because learning kanji is like learning a bunch of different vocabulary. And even if you don't understand the complex grammar, you can piece together what all the different vocabulary means and get a general grasp of what's being said. Even if you don't learn all the kanji, maybe you can learn things you're interested in. If you're interested in food, learn different food kanji. Whatever you're interested in, you can learn the kanji for that specific area. So let's say there's 2,200 kanji, and you learn, let's just say 3 a day. it would only take about 2 years to learn all the kanji with only 3 a day. And so some people might be saying, what, 2 years? That's so long. But 2 years are going to pass anyway. So where do you want to be when 2 years passes, inevitably? Do you want to have learned all the kanji? Or do you want to still not know any of them? It's actually not that difficult. I learned it as a high school student in about 18 months. And that's after the age, that's after being 12 years old. When people say it's so much harder to learn a language, which I kind of disagree with. The important part is at least learn, I think, 1 a day, which is what I was doing. Sometimes I would learn 1 a day, and then maybe higher, like 5 a day. But you don't want to learn too many. Maybe not 10 a day, that's a bit much. But if you can handle it, but you don't want to get burned out on it. One of my friends learned over 100 in just a week, and he got burned out of it and just stopped. So it's important to just do a few a day. If you can do a few a day and be consistent about it, you can learn them. When I studied abroad in Osaka, I remember commuting every day for about an hour, and when I was on the train, I would see advertisements with kanji, and I would try to read them. And if I couldn't read them, I'd put them in the dictionary, learn how to read them, and then just repeat it over and over. And then walking on my way to school as well, I would see different buildings, clinics, stores, and just try to read all the signs. The funny thing is, the times when I didn't know the meaning of a kanji, not how to read it, but not the meaning, I would ask a Japanese friend, and they wouldn't know either. Learning just over 2,000 kanji is actually enough. Nowadays, I don't remember the kanji how I used to. I used to just see one kanji and know the one meaning for it. But nowadays, I remember them in pairs. Usually, you see a kanji with another kanji, and they make kanji compounds. So I don't remember it based on the mnemonics anymore, I'm just familiar with it now, and I think that's a great way to do it. And when it comes to writing, I really don't write. Even in English nowadays, I don't have many opportunities to write in English. I usually just type, and it's the same thing with Japanese. And a lot of Japanese themselves are actually forgetting how to write kanji because they're typing on the computer or on the phone. But it's not necessary. You can get around living in Japan just knowing how to recognize and read the kanji. Even if you don't remember how to write something and you need to write, you can just use your dictionary, type in the kanji, and boom, it's there. You can just copy that down. I've been living here for over 5 years now, and that's been perfectly helpful. I see writing the kanji as almost like a luxury now, where you don't have to do it, but if you want to, you can. So the most important thing is to just start and continue. So I have a link in the description to the website that I used. I definitely recommend you check it out. Also, there's a paid version called Wanikani, which I heard is really good, but I didn't discover that website until I was almost finished learning the kanji. So at that point, it didn't make any sense for me to use it. So if you're on a budget and you want to learn, you can use the website I have below. Or if you want to spend a little bit more to get a little bit more, you could use Wanikani. And if you have any questions, you can leave a comment down below. I hope that helped, and I hope everyone will start learning kanji after this.